Hey, what's up guys, this is Muddassir Hussain and you are listening to the Social Real Madrid podcast. I'd like to open up by apologising for our absence recently. Using your feedback, we have been working hard on improving these podcasts, and hopefully you'll notice one of these vast improvements in a short while. Anyway, let's get straight to business, shall we? On this week's segments, we will be reviewing the disappointing game against Valencia on Saturday evening. We'll also talk specifically about the Casillas situation and of course the return leg against Juventus. Before I get started, let me introduce our improvement to the show. You all certainly know of him already. He's known as Real Madrid Insider on Twitter. Of course, it's none other than Alex. Alex, it's really good to have you on the show. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining us, mate.
Hello, Muddassir. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on the show, and I'm really looking forward to this adventure with you guys. I hope we'll be able to achieve what you guys are expecting from us in the coming weeks, and let's see what we can do.
Fantastic stuff. Let's get straight to it, Alex, shall we?
Let's go.
So obviously it was a really disappointing result against Valencia. The league, I mean, it's all but mathematically over, isn't it? What were your thoughts on the game, Alex?
First off, the Valencia game was really one-sided because of the bad luck that we had in the first half, and Bale and many other players hit the post like 3 times. Diego Alves was stone in the first half and in the second half, and Valencia basically took advantage of the poor defending and goalkeeping abilities in the first half, and then they started defending in the second half, like the entire 45 minutes. No matter how much you attack against 11 players, you won't be able to score. But you know, the attacking ability in the second half was a bit of an optimistic approach, because you know we've got the Juventus game tomorrow, so that gives you a slight hope that we can actually turn this game against Juventus and qualify to the Champions League final against Barcelona.
Yeah, I get what you mean. The defending was particularly poor. What did you think of Pepe's defending and Arbeloa? I think, did you notice Arbeloa's cheap free kick he conceded in build-up to the second goal? I think it was Piatti who was going nowhere and he just fouled him.
Well, it's no secret that Arbeloa hasn't been playing on his top level in the recent years. I mean, he's not the guy he used to be in Liverpool. But at the same time, you have to blame people other than Arbeloa in this goal. For instance, you have to blame, like, it's 50% on Pepe and 50% on Casillas. The first 50%, Pepe wasn't even marking his man well, so he just got behind them and shot the ball so Casillas couldn't actually see it. Or I don't know, maybe Casillas hasn't been on his top level lately, so it wasn't that easy to achieve, to defend against this set piece.
Yeah, I agree. We'll get to Casillas in a moment, but I mean, Pepe, like you rightly said, I think Pepe was to blame in both goals then, because in the first goal, he's certainly to blame because he was nowhere near Alcácer, and people are blaming Casillas for that. I don't believe Casillas was to blame. Do you?
Like I said, it's Pepe. Look, Pepe has been playing on his top level, probably his best 2 years at Real Madrid, the past 2 years, especially the one that the way we won the La Decima. But this year, the entire roster had an amazing start to the season, but then faded away as time passed. You know, we got hit by injuries, so it's normal for the players to play lower than what they're used to when we had our full squad. So, of course, if you want to blame anyone, you have to blame Casillas and Pepe. Who to blame more? I have no idea, honestly, because it was poor defending and poor goalkeeping.
But is that the main reason for the defeat? I mean, like you said, we were unlucky. Woodwork 3 times. Cristiano missed a penalty, very unlike him. We probably should have deserved to be 4-2 up at half time. I mean, does the result sort of portray how Real Madrid have been in 2015? I mean, we've been really unlucky with injuries as well, and it almost sums it up as complete season, doesn't it?
Look, to you're against Real Madrid, you have to take advantage of the mistakes that they make. Pepe made a mistake. Casillas made a mistake. Arbeloa made a mistake. These mistakes all lead to a goal. Yes, we had our chances. We could have been 4-2 up in the first half because of the woodwork and, like you said, penalties. Cristiano's penalty miss. But at some time, luck doesn't really help you at all.
Yeah, I get it. But like you said, also, I mean, the standing ovation in the end that the players received from the Bernabeu, obviously spirits will be high. It was a very a warrior-like final 10 minutes. I mean, full of hunger. The attitude was perfect. I mean, could that be crucial for the Juventus game?
The fans' standing ovation to the players was something that I was really proud of after the game, even though I know our chances to win La Liga has really decreased, and it's probably very impossible. But the standing ovation just shows how really the fans support you when you try, no matter if you win or lose. We saw a fighting team in the second half. We saw a team that really wanted to get that win. We saw a team that really wanted to stay in La Liga. But sometimes it doesn't work well for you, and the other team is just too stubborn, like Diego Alves was. Diego Alves was really carrying the entire team on his back. So this support from the fans will give the players a really good push for the Juventus game.
Yeah, exactly. Just a quick one, Alex. Do you think if Real Madrid are to win the league in the coming years, they need a deeper squad with more quality in depth?
I've been discussing this for a while actually on Twitter. The main reason why we were so bad when we were hit with injuries, especially Modric and James injuries, it's because we didn't have players who Carlo Ancelotti actually trusts, or players who can actually change a game when they're needed. Okay, maybe Chicharito was the reason why we qualified to the semi-finals. But what about the league? What about the game we lost? These points are very important. We need players who can actually perform when you call them. For instance, in midfield, obviously Ancelotti doesn't trust either Khedira or Yaramendi, and he can't actually play Lucas Silva as he's just new in this game and new in this team, and he can't actually trust him to do whatever Kroos or Modric have been doing this year. So, and one more thing, the Chicharito thing. Okay, he made us win the quarterfinal against Atletico, but you can't just depend on luck again. You have to have a solid attacker, a solid midfielder, a solid defender. We actually have Varane, who is a great substitute, who can actually be a starter in any team. But at the same time, you have to be covered up in all positions. So we just have to hope Perez actually does his job this summer.
Yeah, let's hope he goes mad this summer, Florentino style. That's what we're hoping for.
That's the only solution for us to win anything next season.
Exactly. Let's turn our attention to the Iker Casillas situation now. Do you think all this criticism is fair and justified?
You know, I was fighting on Twitter against people who were against Iker, who were launching campaigns. I was actually talking about this earlier today. They launched campaigns against Iker. They threatened his family, his son, his wife. They even threatened him. The abuse he's getting is immense. This is so unfair to get to give to a player who has been serving this club for almost 18 years. And it's actually unfair to give to any player who is playing with this team. If it's 1 year, 20 years, or I don't even care how many years. The hate Iker is getting is way too much. Iker has to understand that criticism is acceptable. The fans, on the other hand, have to understand that criticism is acceptable. Abuse isn't. So I'm one of the people who used to defend Iker all the time and wanted him to stay. But I really think it's time for him to leave. So, but I would never abuse or want this guy out of the club. Maybe just bench him for next season. Keep him in the next 2 years till his contract ends, and we'll have another starting goalkeeper. Maybe Keylor Navas, maybe De Gea, anyone.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, what you see on social media, what the Real Madrid fans are doing to Casillas, It's really bad. It's nasty to see, isn't it? I mean, like you say, criticism is completely fair and justified. Even the best Cristiano and Messi deserve criticism when it's needed. And I criticise Casillas myself, but however, you have to love the guy. I mean, for what he represents, you saw last year in the La Decima final, his emotions were just fantastic to see. And
he's a club legend, Muddassir. Sorry for interrupting. He's a club legend.
Exactly.
He wants to help the team in any way, but sometimes you want to stay on this team, but you really want to help this team, but sometimes you're just maybe not enough to help this team. You know.
Certainly, yeah, he's certainly past his best, and I think he knows that, and I think this certainly will be his last season at the club. There was, I can't remember his name. Apologies for that. But a former Real Madrid keeper who mentioned today to Radio Marca, I think he said that Cristiano and Casillas will be leaving at the end of the season. I mean, it's obvious that Cristiano isn't leaving, but Casillas, I think he's spot on there that Casillas would be leaving, right?
Yeah, most media outlets have been agreeing on this matter for quite a while now. Everyone knows that Casillas is leaving this summer, but reports are varying between he'll be staying, but will be benched for the entire season. Others say he will be leaving and we'll get a new goalkeeper entirely. So who knows? Who knows what will happen?
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't that be another problem? I mean, having Casillas on the bench is just because he's more than just a player. He's a symbol at Real Madrid, and you almost have to. It's almost a situation as Raúl. You couldn't keep him on the bench. You had to let him go because you just can't keep him at the club and not have him on the pitch. He's a leader. So wouldn't it be better just to let him go?
Casillas definitely has some more talent to give, and some. At least he can play for like 2-3 years anyway, but definitely, I was just saying this on Twitter actually an hour ago, he can actually play football more, he can actually give some team a little help, but definitely not on the highest level, not on Real Madrid's level, not on the Champions League level. He isn't just capable of it anymore.
Yeah, completely. I'd love to see him at Arsenal.
No, mate, actually if he has to stay in Europe, I'd actually want him out of Europe. I don't want him to stay here, because I'd hate to see him in another European team.
Perhaps the MLS then.
Yeah, definitely MLS, somewhere in India. I don't know.
Alright, great. Let's move on to the third part of the show. It's obviously Madrid's last chance for any recognisable silverware this season. The return leg against Juventus. Let me just share this stat with you, Alex, and the rest of you. It's been 28 years since Madrid last progressed from a knockout tie against Italian opposition, and that was in September 1987. So how do you think both teams will set up, Alex?
Well, that's a new stat that I've never heard before, but I've got another interesting stat. Real Madrid have never qualified to the final when they have lost the first leg in the semi-finals. So that's even worse, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know. I've been really confident of the tie against Juve. I've been saying that for almost a week, and I've been saying that we can actually qualify. But it's not going to be easy. We can qualify if the 11 players are all on their top level. If Ramos is playing well, whether it's in midfield or in defense. If Iker is having a good day. If Cristiano is actually capable of getting past these defenders. If, I don't know, if Cruz is able to play to start with. Maybe Cruz isn't 100% fit to start. But if, like I said, if all the players are on their top level, we can easily get past Juve. I know that, and I'm sure of it.
What sort of formation do you think Allegri will use? I think Italian media was saying last week that with the return of Pogba, he might go 4-3-1-2. What do you think?
It's really risky to play against Real Madrid in with such a formation, especially with Bale and Cristiano on the wings. They actually demolished the entire players. But Allegri was saying earlier that there is a possibility that Pogba would start tomorrow, and I thought that's just mind games, and I doubt that Pogba will actually start. But no matter if Pogba starts or not, it won't be a problem if Ramos starts in midfield. Ramos can actually shut Pogba down easily if he wants to.
But didn't Ancelotti recently say that Ramos won't be playing again this season in midfield.
Yeah, but he said earlier today that there's a possibility that Ramos would play in midfield again, actually.
So he's actually thinking about it. I don't know. I think Isco should be playing there. I think you need creative midfielders there to break that, stone off a defence and get Bale and Cristiano and hopefully Benzema some chances.
Look, our main problem against Juve in the first leg was the lack of creativity in midfield. Ramos was seriously out of sync with all the players. All his focus was all he cared about was to cross the ball from one side to another. He couldn't actually get past the Juve midfield. He couldn't actually get past the Juve defense. He couldn't actually give a good pass forward. All his passes were sideways, to the right or to the left. Nothing very serious or nothing that can actually cause Juve any problems, or maybe give Cristiano some space to breathe and get a pass and then, I don't know, maybe get a shot or anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Ramos looked like a fish out of water, completely out of place. Whereas that's what I mean. So that's surely Isco is the choice. However, I have noticed in recent weeks when Isco is playing, James isn't the same player. He tends to drop a lot deeper, and Isco tends to attack more. Whereas James has been our player since coming back from injury. He's been our player of the season. Wouldn't you say?
Honestly, James, nobody knew that James would have such an impact to Real Madrid. I was actually against bringing in James, especially with that price tag. We got him for almost 80 million euros. That at the first was really crazy. It was really considered as a crazy move for me, and I didn't want it to happen, but it happened. And James has been wow. He's probably our most creative midfielder. He's been giving Isco someone to compete with. They've been getting the best out of each other. But I wanted to say this earlier, that Ramos has been good in midfield when he was playing against Atletico, a team who isn't looking to get forward, a team who isn't looking to get goals, a team who is just looking to defend and hold their positions. In that sense, Ramos is really good, since he can actually play that physical game with Atletico that they love. But against Juve, you saw how Vidal and Pirlo were all moving. They could easily get past us. So that was probably a problem as well. That could be a problem again in the second leg.
Yeah. So who do you think the key battles? Where do you think the key battles lie? I pinpointed Bale against Evra and James against Pogba. What do you think?
I really think the most important one would be James versus Pogba. If Pogba starts, really, because James, we all know how James plays. He just goes into the center of the pitch and just finds where the spot that suits him, whether it's to the right or to the left. He actually doesn't care. So when he's to the right, he can actually cross to the left and shoot. If he's on the left, he can cross in and give another cross to Bale, and maybe he can give it to Benzema, forward pass to Benzema. But the Bale versus Evra side actually would be very important as well, because we all know that Bale can be spectacular if he's having a good game again.
Well, sorry to disturb. We lost the first leg because of Bale's lack of involvement. I think it was a crazy stat, and when I read it, I was actually double checking. I checked about 3 or 4 different sites just to verify this stat. He had less touches that night than Iker Casillas. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that stat actually, and it's actually true. I've seen it in several places on Twitter and Squawka maybe, and Who Scored, and several other accounts. The problem with that wasn't just Evra. The problem was Marquisio. Marquisio was so good in midfield in the last game. Nobody noticed him, but defensively he was having a top game. He shut down Bale really well.
Yeah. However, the reason why I've pinpointed it is if Bale's on his top form, surely that's got to be one of the sides of the pitches where Real Madrid have to dominate. I mean, Bale's hasn't been his best. That's the least we can say about his performances of late. So
Yeah,
surely
definitely.
it's going to be one of the places where Real Madrid need to dominate.
Definitely.
So let's discuss Benzema a bit. Obviously, do you reckon he'll start, or do you think he'll go with Chicharito?
Oh my God, you have no idea how much I missed Benzema back in this team. You have no idea. One of the other reasons why we lost this game was the absence of Benzema. The presence of Benzema gives Bale and Cristiano a sense of, gives them some space to move. When Chicharito was playing, all the attention was on Bale and then Cristiano. Chicharito couldn't actually do anything to move the defense, to give Bale or Cristiano some air. But when Benzema plays, he gets the ball, he creates his own space, he can actually get past defenders, he can actually cross it to either Cristiano or Bale. He can do some really, really good stuff. But the problem is, I really don't think he can actually start tomorrow, especially that he didn't play last weekend. But Carlos said that he's 100% fit and he can actually start. But just like Allegri, I think it's all just mind games as well.
So you don't think Benzema or Pogba will start in such a high-profile second leg?
They have a possibility to start, but I think it would be both. It would be a risk to both coaches to start them. It would be a risk for Allegri to start Pogba because he can actually get injured again easily, and it's the same case for Carlo Ancelotti.
But for surely for Ancelotti, it's do or die, isn't it? I mean, his job's on the line here.
Of course, his job is on the line, but when you play such a high-profile player, you'd expect him to have an impact. So, what's the use of starting a high-profile player if he can't actually play his usual self, if he can't actually give what he is used to give in other games? So it's really a gamble for both coaches, but I definitely love to see both players on the pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in a game of this magnitude, you want to see all the best players out on the pitch. I mean,
exactly.
I think off topic, but I think that's one of the main things why Barca against Bayern was more disappointing than more exciting, because, I mean, Bayern were crippled almost, weren't they?
They were crippled, but if you can actually look at it again, Bayern gave Barca a really good game in the first leg. They hung on for almost 70 minutes.
Yeah,
they fell apart. Yeah. They fell apart in the last 10-15 minutes, and that's it. The rest of the game was actually quite even.
So let's get back onto Real Madrid, or the team that actually matters. Let's give us a prediction for tomorrow night, then, Alex.
Tomorrow night, let's see. I think it's going to be 2-0 in the first half, and we'll end it probably 3-0 or 3-1 in the second half. And so the full time is 3-1, I guess.
3-1, yeah. You read my mind. I actually think I haven't been speaking a lot. Let me just give you what I think about.
Yeah, let's go.
I actually think Real Madrid actually didn't play to their potential at all, and I don't think even if they tried, they couldn't play possibly any worse than they played last week. I think I counted 6 players that were completely out of place, and I don't think they could play any worse as well. And the 5 others were satisfactory. They weren't even good. Cristiano got the goal, but he wasn't anywhere near his best and anywhere near what we expect of him. So I think Real Madrid will turn it around. I think the Bernabeu will play a huge part in it, just as they played against Atleti in the second leg. And I think Real Madrid will win 2-0. However, if Juventus do score, I still think Real Madrid will win 3-1 and will progress. So I'm not too worried. I'm actually quite excited.
So am I actually, but some people are saying that Juventus aren't going to just park the bus. They're bringing in their plane to park it as well. But if they play that like that, it's going to be a huge risk as well, because once Real Madrid get going, they can actually be a huge threat to any team in the world.
I tell you what, Alex, if they park the bus, I'd be very happy. It's going to be a very long 90 minutes for them if they park the bus.
Exactly. Especially after what we've seen in the second half against Valencia. It was probably one of the best attacking halves I've ever seen.
Oh, it'll be an attacking onslaught. I hope they play the first 60 minutes at the new camp. I thought Real Madrid were marvellous. They were wasteful, but the chances they created were just really good. And I think if they can play anywhere near those 60 minutes, Juventus have a tough time.
Definitely, man, definitely. I'm hoping for the best, and it's probably Carlo's last chance to stay at Real Madrid next season, and I hate to see him out because there isn't any coach who is at Carlo Ancelotti's level right now who can actually coach Real Madrid.
Fantastic stuff. I think that's a debate for another show. That's all the time we have for this week's show. Please remember to subscribe, like and share. And as always, feedback is appreciated. Let's hope for a magnificent Madrid on Wednesday night. From Muddassir and Alex, we'll see you soon.